Welcome to the 116th edition of Make Pro Wrestling Majestic Again. I am Tigerhite, and obviously Peanut Gallery is still not here. He is returning next week. I'm actually picking him up tomorrow, so that's why he said to film the show on Saturday, because he'll be too tired and needing to get settled back in, so he wouldn't have been on the show even if he was here. So let's get into my soapbox. Let's get on to Raw. For some reason, all of the WWE shows went down in ratings significantly, and I have no idea why. Hell, even NXT did. So it was a 1.757 million next to a 1.888 million. Then it was a 0.55 demo instead of a 0.61 demo. Not the worst numbers in the world, but that's a significant drop in 7 days. But the thing is, you can always blame the NFL preseason games, but those are presented Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So Monday, that's not even like a factor. NFL is coming up though, so we're definitely going to see a significant drop in ratings. The show itself was fine. I think last week's show really turned a lot of people off just because it was so house show. This one didn't feel as house show-y, but it still felt kind of like a house show. I have no idea what's going on with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Owens has a rib injury. Sami Zayn's elbow, I guess, is more fucked up than we thought. So what's going to happen with these tag team champions, if anything at all? Because I don't even know. People really shat on Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn pretty hard. And I'm like, okay, you guys said the same thing about RK Bro. How about we wait and see what they do? Because RK Bro ended up being one of the best things on the show. Let's see what Drew and Matt Riddle do. I'm glad to see them on television, and they worked okay together. They took on the Viking Raiders, and obviously the Viking Raiders lost. Gunther faced Otis, which was fine. Chad Gable faced Giovanni Vinci, which was actually an okay match, building up for the IC Champion match next week. So I'm hoping that bumps up the ratings slightly, because you know that's going to be a good match. But really, everything else was just kind of there. JD McDonough losing to an injured Sami Zayn, I thought was an absolutely ridiculous thing to do. I have no idea why they thought that. JD could have won. Sami wouldn't have looked weak. Did you see his elbow? He has a baseball in it. Good Lord. That was dumb. Whole Judgment Day thing is really starting to get on my damn nerves. Like, I understand that they are like the biggest group right now, and they're hitting hard with ratings, and people want to see them. But come on, like there's such a thing as too much Judgment Day. Let's go into NXT. NXT did fall under 700,000 this week. I think it was like 674 or something, next to 776 last week. And it was a 0.19 demo instead of a 0.23 demo. So definitely a little bit lower on that end. Dominic is a draw within NXT. People want to see him. So maybe more Judgment Day is sort of there. It's just kind of repetitive, and I have no idea what they want to do with it at the end of the day. It just feels so lost. Carmelo Hayes and Wes Lee, they're having a match. NXT champion at Heat Wave. I think that's literally next week. That's going to be very good. I like the aggression that Wes Lee showed here. It really showcased a different side of Wes Lee that we don't see too often. Baron Corbin and Von Wagner as a program. I don't hate it. I think Von Wagner has a ton of momentum right now. And he and Braun had a fairly good match. And, I mean, I just cannot believe that they actually got Von Wagner over with something. In this table thing, it's getting pops. It's getting people to watch the show. Obviously not this week, because it's still fairly new with the whole table thing. I think they literally just started wearing the "you got tabled" stuff. And the NXT Tag Team Championship match, which was very strange. Why do you have it there? The NXT Tag Team Champions are so low as it relates to value in NXT right now. They mean nothing. Absolutely nothing. There wasn't really a whole lot else outside of that. Tyler Bate and Joe Coffey had a fine match. Wesley and Dijak had a good match, but it wasn't that crazy match that we had for the North American. Was that for the North American champion that they had? where Dijak's finger got dislocated. Yeah, no, that was for the North American Champion. That was a great match. They try to have that magic here. It just didn't happen, unfortunately. So the match that we're going to be covering is going to be this Texas Chainsaw Massacre death match. AEW Dynamite actually went up in ratings and in demo. It was an 874 next to a 846, and it was a 0.32 demo instead of a 0.29 demo. So good overall. I have no idea why. I guess because this match was so hyped, people wanted to see it. I didn't see the hour by hour numbers. I might go back and revisit it. But this was so promoted and so criticized because zombies are a no-go, but Leatherface is. Also, the match sucked. It was really bad. Hardy and Jarrett can barely move. They are both very old. And Darby Allin and Nick Wayne had a match. Adam Cole and MJF had a segment. It was fine. The main event was the Guns versus the Young Bucks, which is stupid. Britt Baker faced the Bunny to go to All In. And obviously Baker won. I have no idea how Bad Bunny got that opportunity. I have no idea. There just wasn't a whole lot. Chris Jericho and Don Callis' segment, that whole thing about Jericho Appreciation Society breaking up came out of absolutely nowhere. I feel like it wasn't meant to... I think Jericho was supposed to join Don Callis, but then they changed their mind, which is so dumb. And then Jericho's facing Will Ospreay because Ospreay attacked him. That's what we're doing with Jericho and Ospreay for All In. Instead of having Ospreay and Omega 3, the rubber match, you decide to do Jericho and Ospreay. Are we joking? I would rather Jericho face Konosuke by himself in some sort of wacky, hardcore match. That would have been better. But no, it's a 6-person tag. Kenny Omega, I think it's Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, and Hangman Page taking on Bullet Club Gold, Juice Robinson, and Jay White, and then Konosuke. That's the match for All In. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. This card sucks. If I bought All In any way, shape, or form, I would be fucking infuriated. This card is the most thrown together thing for the biggest show pretty much of AEW's existence, next to All In, the original, that I can't even fathom how infuriated people are going to be. This is going to be a nightmare show, and I cannot wait for it. And so that was Dynamite for the most part. Not a whole lot to rant or rave about. Let's go into Impact. Couldn't find numbers. It was so middle of the road. God, this Impact was just weak sauce. Nothing here was outstanding. Even this match, the main event, just wasn't there. This is a tournament finals match, and I predicted it almost to a T. Purrazzo didn't get an entrance on camera, but she's going for the Knockouts World Champion. The triple threat match was super sloppy. God. Kevin Knight and Moose was fine, but God, man, Moose needs to do something. I have no idea why this company did not work around Moose. He is literally everything. He cuts good promo. He is physically huge. He looks phenomenal, and his moveset is so kick-ass. And he signed a long-term extension. If I'm not mistaken, the longest-term extension in the company's history. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Moose retired with Impact. But they, for some reason, are not building the company around him. God. There's not really a whole lot here. Bully Ray and Black Tar Roos had an abysmal no disqualification match. This match was so bad. And for what reason? Why? Bully Ray just in a random ass match. And he claiming that he and Dreamer could have 1 million viewers if with the money that Dynamite has. You guys were getting huge numbers in relative back in the 90s with ECW. You guys didn't have a huge ass budget there. not until the very end. Like, what are we doing? What kind of dumbass excuse was that? No, it's because matches like this. That's why you guys aren't getting a whole lot. It doesn't hurt that Access TV is only shown to like a couple 100,000 homes, maybe 2 or 3 million in general. So, I don't know. This one's just kind of a weak sauce Impact. And let's go into SmackDown. Obviously, I'm not going to be watching Collision for this review just because it's tonight, and you know for a fact I ain't waiting until after Collision. Edge's essentially retirement. He went off on his own terms. Is he going to join AEW? I don't know. It would be a mistake because I think that would tarnish his legacy. What a perfect way to cap off a Hall of Fame worthy career. Facing the guy who brought you back for your second run, that convinced you to come back to a job that you had to leave early because of retirement. The kick in the ass. And they did this in front of Toronto, in his home country, hometown, where he started his career. If that is not a perfect cap off to Edge's career, I don't know what is. God, such a good match too. It was a very good match. Edge's emotion, you can definitely see it. But his contract is not up until the end of September. So he's definitely not going to be all in. Just not unless he breaks his contract. But I could see him just riding off into the sunset. Enjoy time with your family. You don't have anything to prove. You can do other great things. Edge is one of those guys who is so multifaceted. He could be a manager. You might come back wrestling again. I just don't see a reason to at this point. This is so good. God, it was a good match. Charlotte Flair's botch was very strange. I'm not sure who was in the wrong as it relates to that, where she was like literally at Bianca Belair's feet for the tag, but for some reason she couldn't tag her. It's almost like Charlotte Flair did not know how to do the tag. Very weird. Just 5 segments though. Very short show, but I think this was the main focus, and I'm happy that they gave him that. Now, last week, SmackDown definitely dipped hard, but there is a reason for that. It was a 2.097 million, and it was a 0.55 demo last week. Keep in mind that there are NFL preseason games going on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I think for like the next 4 or 5 weeks. If I could be wrong on that. But that's going to run right next to SmackDown pretty much. I think there's like a little overlap, but nothing too major. But that'll definitely affect SmackDown's rating. So don't be surprised. I mean, that's still a good number. But it's not like the almost 3 million that they were doing before the NFL. And keep in mind, like I said, the NFL is going to be happening. And that's definitely going to affect a lot of these ratings. Especially for Mondays and Fridays. Don't they do shows on Wednesdays too? Don't they do games on... No, they do on Thursdays. So Impact Wrestling might be hit too. I just don't know yet. So that was my soapbox. Overall, a fine series of wrestling shows. Overall, let me know what you thought about that. So up next, it's going to be kind of an interesting topic, and I've always wanted to do this, but Peanut Gallery wouldn't have contributed a whole lot because it's more of a personal experience. So when we come back, I'll explain more.